Yo, I'm so pissed off right now and disappointed because, I guess I could blame myself for this and I should have prepared better. But, when I think about it, I really couldn't have done anything about it at the time. Or I guess I could have, but I would have put myself in a more precarious position than I'm already in. But anyway, let's talk about Netflix approved cameras. I always thought that was like the dumbest notion. Like, I know I could take any camera. I could take a Canon M50 or a Sony A6000 or whatever and get a great image. An image that could show up on HBO or Netflix or something like that. Like, I think anybody who really knows what they're doing can use pretty much any camera. Like, all these cameras are incredible. Any camera that could shoot 4K and even 1080, but any camera that could shoot 4K, you can get great image quality from it. It's not really about that. And so I was always like, what is a Netflix approved camera? Does it mean that it's Netflix approved because you can collaborate with people and you could attach things to the camera? Like, what's the reason? Because you could rig out any camera. I just thought it was like some marketing bullshit, But today I learned what at least I think is the reason that they will call a camera Netflix approved, at least in large part. And it's all about frames per second. Like, I think that the camera has to be able to shoot proper 24 frames per second, or if you're in Europe, 25 frames per second if you're PAL. But 24, not 23.976 or whatever it is. Like, you have to shoot 24 frames per second. Because I just shot a full-length feature film, and I shot it on a Panasonic S5, which is an incredible camera. Like, I'll put the image quality up against any camera. Any camera. This camera, if you have somebody who knows what they're doing, can produce an unbelievable image. It's beautiful. Its dynamic range is incredible. The roll-off, the highlight roll-off, the shadows, like everything about it looks very cinematic. But it doesn't shoot 24, not proper 24 frames per second. And so I can't, set my shutter speed to 1/48. I'm shooting at 23.976 and 1/50. Because that's what we do, right? Because who cares? Well, if you want to submit to a festival like Sundance or Tribeca or Toronto or Cannes or South by Southwest or the New Jersey Film Festival or any of these bigger festivals, most of them require what's called a DCP, which is a digital cinema package. And it's something that you need to make your movie be able to be played in theaters. And the problem is that a proper DCP file requires 24 frames per second, not 23.976 or whatever. Now, of course, there are workarounds, and if you speak to any real professionals, there's no workaround. Like, you need 24. Like, why are you shooting with a camera that doesn't shoot 24 FPS? This is killing me, because when I was looking for cameras, when I was upgrading from the Sony A6400, with the intention of making a movie that I could submit to Tribeca and Cannes and Sundance and all these festivals, I almost bought a Sony FX3. That's what I had my eyes on. And I almost bought a Panasonic S5iix, both of which shoot 24 frames per second. But both of which, at the time when I bought this camera, were more than twice the money of this. And this camera, had all the bells and whistles that I needed. It's almost a proper cinema camera. It's got all the video assist features. It's got everything. And so, yeah, it's got everything but 24 frames per second. And you know, I mean, it's really, like, when you think about it, I don't know the reason why. I'm sure there's some kind of technical reason. But first of all, why do theaters only use DCP? Like, you know, this is 2024. Like, you can't play a digital file. You can't play a ProRes file. You know, you can't play a 4K, you know, high quality file. And you know, I mean, come on. Like, I'm so messed up about this, I can't even think right now. I mean, it just pisses me off. And so I'm now trying to figure out how I can turn my movie into a DCP. So if anybody's watching this who has a clue, and if I'm being stupid and ignorant and I don't know, correct me, please, because I don't know. And, you know, I was online all day today, and I can't even find a place that'll talk to me. You know, everybody has these forms to fill out. And, you know, you're filling out all the specifications, but every one of them is 24 frames per second. I mean, I don't know. Hopefully I just don't know about something that exists. But, you know, if I can't, you know, like, why submit? Why spend all this money? You know, it's not cheap to submit to a lot of these festivals. $100, $120, $150 sometimes. Like, you know, it adds up. You know, submit to 10 festivals, you've spent $1,000. I spent over $3,500 submitting my first movie. And I didn't even submit to places that required a DCP because I shot it on my phone. You know what's crazy? My phone, an LG V40, I believe you could shoot in 24 frames per second. How crazy is that? But the Panasonic S5 doesn't. And you know, I almost bought an S5iix the other day. I mean, it wouldn't help this situation. I'm not gonna like reshoot the whole movie right now. But so, why? You know, like, why? And is that the reason that a camera is Netflix approved? Because it shoots 24 frames per second, so you can make a decent... And you know what's funny about that? It's Netflix approved. That's not for the theater. That's online. So probably, if they're shooting on an FX3 or a Arri Alexa or whatever that has 24 frames per second, they're probably just delivering a ProRes file or something like that. You know, they're not delivering a DCP. So I just don't get it. I don't understand. You know, as an independent artist, there's just so much stuff that you have to get a handle on, you know, that you got to figure out, you know, and who thought that, you know, a deliverable was going to be so complicated? I mean, for me, it was complicated enough over the last 4 or 5 years to figure out how to render my movies to get the best quality. Like, how to render it properly to make it look good on even YouTube. I mean, even that was complicated for me. But who thought, like, this was like a whole nother layer? It's crazy. Like, it's just like, what does this have to do with writing a great story and being a great actor and, you know, having a conflict and a resolution in your story and, you know, writing something meaningful that moves people, that inspires people? Like, what? I mean, I guess it's the craft, right? The actual making of it. It's like being a mad scientist. You know, you come up with this great story. And, you know, I've been living in the theater for the last 17 years. And I'm a solo theater artist. I could just get up on stage with my body and tell a story. But this is some tech kind of nerd stuff, you know. I'm dealing with lenses and you know, aperture, and I'm making all kinds of creative decisions, colors, but also the technical stuff. You know, to know that, you know, if you're making a movie, you want to, you know, set your shutter at twice the frames, you know, the frame rate that you're shooting at, to give it that, you know, blur so that it looks like a movie, so that it looks like real life, you know. That you don't want to shoot at 30 frames per second to make a movie. You do that if you're shooting the news or a sporting event or something like that. But if you want it to look like a film, like, these are the things that we have to learn, you know. It's really frustrating, yo. So I guess, you know, maybe I should have spent the extra money at the beginning and gotten an FX3. I was in the Sony ecosystem at that time, but the thing is, I love this camera. Right now I'm shooting with the Panasonic S5. I'm using a Minolta 28mm f2.8 vintage lens. Why? Because I love the way it looks. I love using this lens, 28mm, and I love shooting manually. I love that. You know, I love working with anamorphic lenses. I do like the tech. You know, I do like I guess I'm mad at myself. I'm mad at myself for not investigating everything from the jump. You know, it makes me feel stupid. Like I figured everything else out. I mean, I shot a movie all by myself. Like one person, one camera, one actor, the same person who's holding the camera is the actor. You know, one tripod, tiny little lights, one little lavalier mic, a purple Panda, one little audio recorder, learning how to edit the whole thing in DaVinci Resolve by myself. And then something like this gets in my way. Man, it's not, it ain't right. You know what I mean? Like, it's messed up. Like, I got the story right, I got the shooting right, I got the sound right, I got an incredible composer, musician to work with me to do the score. Got everything right. It looks great. We made the deadline to submit to Tribeca, and I'm still going to submit. But you know, we want to do a screening. You know, I was going to do a screening actually to do a fundraiser to raise money for the DCP file because it costs a lot of money. But let's say I get in. Let's say Tribeca accepts the film. They require a DCP. So I guess I'm at a point in this project where I have to figure it out. I mean, there's got to be a way. You know, it can't be that every film that has been shown in theaters ever have been shot in proper 24 frames. Like, there's got to be somebody who made a movie at 23.976. It's got to be. It's got to be that they can make a DCP. Now, I know you can make a DCP, but I also know if you have any long monologues, and I have a few in this film, that you'll lose sync towards the end of the monologue. There's got to be a way to work around that. I'm going to investigate. If anybody knows anything, please let me know. I'm going to get out there and investigate and figure it out, because I can't accept this. Like, I just can't, you know. Can't be. And I can't let my collaborators down. And I want it to be in a theater. You know, even if I don't get into these bigger festivals, we're going to have a theatrical run of this film. You know, it's an important subject. And we just worked too hard to do this, to put it together. And you know, it's been like 2.5 years in the making. I'm not going to let this stop me. So I'll figure it out, but I just wanted to come here, I guess, and ask for help. Just like well, actually, you know what? I did get an email the other day. Somebody told me about a place in Atlanta that does work with ECN2 film, that they can develop it. And I've been asking for that help for a long time, and I'm finally going to contact them tomorrow because I just finished everything today. I finished the full movie that I've been working on. This is the end for me. The other day on the 11th. Today I finished the trailer. So I finished all the work that I need to upload to Film Freeway to submit to festivals. So now I have a chance to call that place in Atlanta and hopefully send them my father's 2 rolls of film that I found in 1988, which are probably way older than even that. And maybe I'll get them developed and learn something about my father, where his head was at when he was shooting. So anyway, thanks for watching. I'm sorry to rant like this. I'm sorry for no B-roll. I'm just going to put this out. The algorithm. You know, actually the algorithm would really help me right now, because if this would be my most popular video, it'd be awesome, because then I'd have a better chance to solve this problem. So if somebody can give me some help, I would greatly appreciate that. And if not, thank you for listening and putting up with me with this. It's probably the most boring video I've ever done. But, this is kind of what a community is for, right? This is what YouTube is for, to reach out to one another. Like YouTube is all about providing people with some kind of value, right? So I'm asking for something that will solve a problem for me, and then I can provide value to others when I get the answer, and I'll do a video and I'll explain how I solved the problem. So yeah, help me out. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Please hit the like button if you like this video. And if you like this video, you're probably a liar. And that's it. I'll see you next time. All right. That's it.